Hey there, YouTube. It is Myra, or Get Sleeved. I'm here. I made it. I survived. I am 5 days post-op, and today is my first day of drinking my protein shakes, which I find that they're extremely sweet. So I'm coming to you with a bit of a story time, telling you about my experience in the hospital. My experience was a rough one, honestly. I had an extremely tough time, but I will get to that in a minute. So, I made a video Tuesday night about my 5-day liquid fast, how that went. That went perfectly. I only had one cheat, which was an extra protein shake, so it wasn't really technically a cheat because those are on my list. But I stuck to it to a T. So, I'm all excited. I'm excited for the next day. I get up early. I make sure I have everything packed. I get my family ready. And everybody's coming with me. I got my husband. I got my 3 kids with me. I made a little short video in the car telling you guys how excited I am, and then I'm on my way. Maybe I'll put that clip in here. So yeah, I'm like extremely excited. We're on our way to Rochester to get my surgery done. Super excited to get there and to get it done, and I tell you guys that I'm going to give you updates in the hospital. So we get to the hospital, check in, all the check-in and everything goes smooth. We're waiting in the waiting room. About 15 minutes later, they come and get me. They take me back to my prep room. I'm back there for about an hour, 45 minutes while they do all my testing and, take my urine to make sure I'm not pregnant, which after she made me pee in a cup, she asked me if I had my tubes tied, and I said, yeah. She's like, oh, I didn't have to make you pee after all. But it didn't matter. I had to use the bathroom anyway. So they get me all prepped up. They get my IVs in. They give me my blood thinners. They give me my antibiotics. They give me something else. I can't remember. And antacid, I think, shot for GERD. They put my socks on, my compression socks on. They put the little pressure cuff things on my legs. And I'm good to go. My family comes back. I'm excited. I'm not nervous at all. And the family's back there. They're extremely nervous. They're sitting there with sulking faces, and I'm like so excited to get this done and over with. The anesthesiologist comes in, tells me what he's going to do. My doctor comes in, tells me what he's going to do, addresses any questions that we might have. And of course, I'm like, I don't have any, just how long will I be in the hospital? And he's like, two nights, 3 days. So I'm like, cool. I asked my husband if he had any questions, and of course he didn't have any questions. So, all right, so the time comes. They ask my family to leave. They wheel me down to the operating room, and I'm getting a little antsy. I'm still not too nervous yet. I'm like, I know everything's going to be okay. I know I'm going to pull through. I know everything's going to be okay. I know I'm in God's hands. So they get me down there and they start putting stuff in my IV, and I start feeling, a little airheaded. I'm like, whoa, did you give me something already? And he's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, okay. And then he said, I'm going to put something over your, I'm going to put this breathing cup over your mouth. So he did that, and that's the last thing I remember. And the next thing I remember, I'm trying to wake up. Oh my God, I was so tired. So I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to see where I am. I can't lift my head. My eyes can't focus on anything. And then it hits me. The nausea hits me like a tidal wave. I was so sick. I didn't feel any pain in my stomach. I didn't feel any gas pains. When I tried to sit up, I felt pain in my sutures. But what hit me was the nausea. For the rest of that night, all I could do was hold my bucket to my chest and dry heave and moan and groan. And no matter what anti-nausea medication they gave me, it did not help. And the only relief I had was I had to sit up in the hospital bed like this over my pan to feel better. And that's how I slept. That's how I slept for a full day. And I had no relief from it. The nausea was horrible. The only thing that got me through that first night of nausea was looking forward to when it's going to get better. I just kept telling myself, this is going to pass, this is going to pass, this is going to pass. I'm not going to feel like this for much longer. It's going to pass. You just got to get through the next hour. Maybe the next medication they give you is going to work. Maybe the next one was going to work. Maybe the next one. Well, no, it didn't. I finally was able to bring stuff up, and it was the blood from my staple lines. I was throwing up dark blood, which nurses said was normal. And I don't know if that's what was hurting my stomach. Well, I know the first reaction was probably from the anesthesia. I had a bad reaction to it. You know, my stomach is very sensitive, and I get nauseous with certain medications. Like, I'm starting to get nauseous now because I just took my multivitamin for the first time. And I'm just sipping a protein shake. I have to have stuff in my stomach to be able to handle those. So my stomach is extremely intolerant to certain things, and I think the anesthesia, like, just, it was too much for me. It made me extremely nauseous. So they said, you know, that's going to take some time to wear off, and once that starts wearing off, I'm going to feel a little better. Which was true. I did, but I would still. So that was Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So Thursday morning came, and that's when I start throwing up the blood. And I still haven't had anything to drink, anything like that. Still wasn't allowed to drink anything. So on top of all this blood being in my stomach, I had nothing in it. I had nothing to dilute the blood, nothing to help bring it up, like nothing. So I'm dry heaving, finally brought up some blood. And that freaked my husband out. He was freaked out by that. You know, he calls the nurses and he's like, yo, is this normal? She's throwing up this chunky blood. And they're like, yeah. The, you know, staple line, you know, bleeds sometimes, and it bleeds into the stomach. And that's totally normal. And they're like, when, you know, it's bright red blood, or it's, and to me, this was a lot of blood, but they're like, when, you know, it's a bigger volume of blood, then we want to be worried. So he's like, okay. So now, they asked me, does your nausea come with, is it onset by after you push your pain button? I'm like, huh? I wasn't told that I had a pain button. I haven't been taking anything for pain, obviously. I was like, no, I wasn't told I had a pain button to push. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, oh, here it is. You know, here's your pain button. You can push it every 6 minutes, or, you know, or as needed. And it will only let you push it so many times so you don't OD, blah, 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 or overdose, well, same thing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool. So they're like, and we're going to try you on a different anti-nausea medication to see if that helps. I'm like, okay. So they give me a different anti-nausea medication, which I don't even know the names of these medications because I was so out of it. I'm like this over my puke bucket the whole time, sitting up in my bed, trying to sleep. And you can't sleep in the hospital. You can't sleep there. Every 2 hours, I would finally feel like I was getting some relief and fall asleep, and someone would, time to take your vitals. Time to take your blood sugar. time to get your medicine. You know, it's like every 2 hours, like for 2 nights. Unbelievable. But anyway, back to my original point. So they tried me on a different anti-nausea medication, and I decided to push my pain pill with it, my pain button. So I did that, and like after 3 minutes, I got some relief. Having that new anti-nausea medication helped with the morphine button, actually helped. And I thought I was afraid to push that because I know when I was in the hospital before, they gave me some pain meds that made me extremely sick, and ooh, I didn't want that again. But the morphine was fine. It actually relieved some of my nausea for a little while. So instead of constantly feeling nauseous, I maybe felt nauseous every 3 hours. So, you know, this is Thursday, probably mid-morning. So I'm sleeping on and off. I wake up to some nausea. I hit my pain button, and I go back to sleep. Now comes the time for my swallow test. So as I'm going to the swallow test, I don't think they've given me my pain medication since like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I think it's like noon now. And I shouldn't have to remind the hospital, like, I've been sick, that I need this on a regular basis. But anyway, I think it's like noon or 1 o'clock or maybe 2. I'm not sure of the time, because like I said, I was so tired, I was so sick, I was so out of it. So my time frames might